Hi.
Howdy, howdy.
Everyone, hi. How are
Hello,
you doing?
Happy New
Hey.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So we're coming in for a just impromptu kind of unscheduled live or short scheduled live anyhow, but we thought we'd give an update on our New Year's carnivore month fasting and how that's going. So yeah, we brought Coach Emily and Coach Raymond from SBG because they are fasting with us. So,
Sure.
well, she's gonna fast with us. Coach Raymond's fasting.
Yeah, Raymond's
with us
fasting.
now.
Yeah.
Confessions.
Yeah.
Because I'm passionate about fasting. I'm here as your fasting cheerleader.
Yeah,
Yeah.
plenty of experience fasting. So
Mhm.
yeah, so that's what we're doing today. So let's see, how was your guys' New Year?
Great. Wait, let's catch everybody up. How was this decided? How did we get here?
You and Emily had talked to Michael, and Michael was like, "Hey, we're doing
Thinking about doing a fast.
yeah, doing a 5-day fast," and then Lindy was
Well, I
like,
figured coming off of priming, I figured it would be a
Right.
good time.
"Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been
okay.
doing priming for 3 weeks, so
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Mhm.
That makes sense. Yeah.
and I talked to Coach Raymond and Emily about it, and they
Yeah.
said it'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
So,
I
Which is
mean,
perfect,
I think
actually.
doing a 5-day fast is such a great metabolic reset. It gets you into a deeper autophagy. I like it as like a deep clean in the body. To me, it gets the stem cell regeneration going, and it's just a really good thing to do seasonally for disease prevention and a restart, a mental restart. So yeah, I like to do them, and I think that I had never experienced a 5-day fast going as smoothly as it had until I met Raymond and heard about carnivore priming. And after I was doing that, then my 5-day fasts were an absolute breeze. And I do try to do them once a season. So yeah, it's a great time.
Seasonal's perfect. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I wasn't sure whether this would be a great idea let's talk about your dry fasting that you're doing, Todd.
for
So,
sure."
because you wanted to add on the dry fasting, and then you had a little bit of difficulty on that too, right?
Oh yeah, I got constipated like a son of a gun. That was terrible. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
was like, I cannot, I cannot pass one of these bricks one more time and live to tell about it. It was getting brutal. So, but yeah, so I'm not doing a dry fast this time, like we talked on our coaching call. I
Yeah.
decided to drink water, but I'm barely
all the way
drinking
through?
water.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I usually drink,
Yeah.
8 of these,
Mhm.
8 to 10 of these a day, and this is I didn't even drink a full one of these today.
Mhm.
So I don't have any thirst right now. It's crazy. And same with yesterday. So it's definitely a lot less, but I got over the constipation part. But I definitely like the dry fasting. It's way easier to dry fast.
Oh
It
my
just
God, so easy.
so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Definitely
agree. And I
very
think it's nice to take some periods of dry in between. One of the downsides to dry is you can go too long quite
dry.
easily, and you have to
Mhm.
be careful on your kind of your refeed or your rehydration. And so I like that you're doing it in smaller amounts, kind of, phasing in and out of that. But there's a lot of benefit to it. It is supposed to advance that fasting clock and give you more benefit from a shorter period of time of fasting. And yeah, if you want to talk about not having food on your mind at all, try some dry fasting, and that has a huge impact.
Oh, it
It
does.
does, but there's a lot of downside in a way too. So it's much more difficult. So it's much more. The problem is we always get to that point of dry fasting where there's no return. You're
Mhm.
there, and you just gotta deal with it.
Right.
Mhm, mhm.
And that part sucks, right, Todd?
Oh, for sure. For sure. But all the benefits though, the extra,
Water.
fluid retention that
Yeah.
came off my legs and stuff.
Mhm.
And then also I was drinking so much before I was thirsty for, months, and I was drinking 2.5 gallons a day. And I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I think I picked up a bad habit. I think I started using drinking water to replace the nicotine when I quit it and the soda and all that stuff. I think
grabbing for
that's,
food and everything else.
yeah, it was just
Mhm.
something to do. And I think I got into a bad habit because I was drinking so much and it was putting fluid on me. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Like why? So the dry fasting cut that in half, like just in a couple of days of dry fast.
It's so nice when you can do that, when you got your body used to that, like, because you just don't need anything. You can go out, like, what do I need to bring with me to do something? If I'm on a flight, if I want to go for a hike, if I don't have to carry that stuff around when you get your body used to being adaptable to being in these
Mhm.
different types of fast. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, it's been great. This is one of the easier times I've had a long fast. This one hasn't been bad at all. The worst thing, I started it at a weird time because I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to start it on Saturday night. I meant to start it on Sunday because I like to start a fast midday so that I'm sleeping when I'm hungry. Like the first day when you get hungry, about 12 hours in, I'm sleeping and I just wake up and in a fasted state, and it kind of gets you in it easier. But this time I didn't. So it was a little bit of a struggle on the first day, but now it's not bad at all. Feeling a little bit of muscle fatigue, but not much.
Mm-hmm.
First day
Sometimes
for
it's
me
all
was a
about
little
getting
tough.
past that day
Yeah,
one.
that's when it was hitting me on day one. About 9-10 hours in, I start getting hungry, and because my body's been used to priming, so just start thinking about food again, and my body's like, "Hey, feed me," and I'm like, "No." And then I made the mistake of going up on Instagram and Steak and Butter Girls up there with all her pictures, Bella, and all her food that she's been eating. And worst thing to do is get on social media when you're trying to fast.
Right.
Yeah.
I did hop
And it-
on YouTube today, and the first thumbnail I saw was a foot long chili dog taco, and I was like, "Why is this on my YouTube right now? Why does that look amazing?"
Torturing you.
Right.
How you doing, Lindy?
Yeah, I'm actually doing really well. Surprised that I've been able to 68 and a half hours in. And yeah, I haven't had any cravings. I'm feeling really good. I've lost so much fluid in my. I did pig out on cheese over Christmas. That sort of helped me get over the Christmas sort of social events. And I put so much inflammation and I could feel it in my legs, and all of that's now gone. I feel so much lighter. I feel amazing right now. So I don't know why it's so easy. I've never been able to fast in the 2 years that I've been doing this. I've
Right.
tried and I just kept falling off. Last a few hours and then that temptation to eat would just come back. I don't know if it's because I've got you guys all joining with me, so we're jumping on and we've got each other for accountability, but I'm just, kicking goals here. Loving it. So I definitely want to do more of this, maybe not 5 years or 5 days, sorry, but definitely do a few other fasts throughout the year.
Good. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm loving that you're liking this. So when was the last time you've done a fast? Do you remember?
Oh, no, last year. Months and months and months ago. Yeah, I don't even remember. I intermittent fast. I do like 16-8
Right.
daily, and that's sort of the pattern that I've fallen into for most of my journey. Yeah, I don't even remember the last time I tried a fast, but it was a long time ago. Probably when I first tried. And obviously I was very malnourished and took a
Yeah.
long time to get to obviously 2 years for me, and then now that I'm comfortable fasting and I'm enjoying it. So yeah.
I
Yeah.
think this is
Yeah.
a breakthrough, Lindy. I just love, how
Yeah.
passionate I am about all the different fasts. And that's just been when we were coaching you, it wasn't a huge part of your story. You naturally had an OMAD way of eating, and you naturally had a very simple way of eating without dairy. So it's
Yeah.
interesting that dairy's kind of what kicked you over now into you're loving your fast so much, just kind of taking the clean break and getting that fresh
Yeah.
restart. And I do think you have grown so much. And I think that fasting is kind of a spiritual journey. And it's cool when you're doing something together where you're practicing that stoicism, you're practicing that going without. And we're getting what I've
Yeah.
heard a lot of where people are talking about the joy of missing out, the joy of having like simplified for a while, just having everything simplified. Like there's a lot of power in that you don't get to experience until you go without. You can't even really describe it, but you're there right now and I can see it and I can hear it. And it's just,
Yeah.
yeah.
I did feel like a bit of a failure, especially because there is a lot of fasting in SBG Gang. I mean, you don't have to do it, but you guys all talk about it, and it's like I can't do it.
Well,
I'm
there's
doing
also
it now.
right. There's also the fear, right? First of
Yeah.
all, you know how the calendar is laid out, and that's why I tell people don't look at the calendar because it's going to scare you thinking, oh, I can't do this, But if you listen
Yeah.
to it week by week, you'll be more incentivized. But in this case, start of January, we're using everybody else's momentum. Everybody's got a momentum in
Oh.
January. We're using that momentum to fuel us. So, and you have, four of us doing it right now at the same time. And that's also fueling us to make us feel like, hey, I'm not doing it by myself.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind
Mm.
of nice, right? So,
Yeah.
and we're also at the point sometimes we'll even think, gosh, I want to make an excuse not to do this, but it's like I don't want to ruin it for everybody else, right? That kind of thought.
Yeah.
And that
Right.
actually keeps us going because sometimes we feel the need to eat, but it's not really eating. It's just you're trying to pass the time. It's just for kind of pleasure. You know what I mean? It's kind
Oh,
of like, oh, I just want to pass the time with some food. And so it's not really the hunger that's getting us. It's more like, I guess, a little bit of the boredom, but it reminds us, hey, we're in this together. Let's
definitely.
not ruin
That's
that.
been happening to me today and yesterday, but it's been nice because we kind of all had kind of set our carnivore month New Year goals, and mine was to do the shake plate for my lymphedema, 10 minutes a day to walk on the treadmill, 30 minutes a day, and do this DDP yoga stuff daily. And now I find myself bored, and so I found
Right.
myself had to find something to do, and that was fun to do today and yesterday because there was nothing there because there's nothing to eat. There's nothing fun to do.
Right.
So all of a sudden it was fun to do and the Wim Hof breathing. And also I'm doing lion diet for the next 90 days. And I was like, man, lion diet's going to be hard to go to because I was just eating prime rib and horseradish sauce and cheese and all this
Right.
stuff. But now after a 5-day fast, it's going to be really easy to go to lion diet.
Yeah.
Those ribeyes are going to taste just fine.
Well, you were planning on doing not just lion, you were going no salt too. So that's
Yeah, I
really
am.
kind of like a,
Yeah.
another level by itself too.
Yeah.
So
I haven't had salt
it don't
in,
taste good, but you haven't had salt in a little while too.
yeah. I started weaning that off and I actually stopped eating salt, I think, on the 26th of December, right after Christmas.
Yeah.
So,
So it's a great challenge. I'm actually glad that you're doing that because, like I said, really, it's a lot of the planning that we have that we're doing. It's more about what we do after the fast. Because, sure, everything feels great. We start leaning up. But we notice if we just kind of drop everything and just go in the wild, I guess, even as carnivores, who kind of don't get the advantages of that we could if we just keep a sort of schedule going, if that makes sense. And that's what we want to do. We want to kind of chisel this away, right? Slowly, slowly. But we don't want to just go, oh, well, I did my 5-day fast. Let me rest for 10 days or 5 days. And that's totally, I don't recommend, even though some people say for every day fast, you need to eat for 5 days. Well, in carnivore is a little different because as you could tell with the microprime, all of those speed it up because we know strategies about how to properly eat. So we
right.
can literally eat all day long carnivore foods, and that's going to make a difference. That's going to shorten your amount of recovery time that you need before you go into another fast.
And you have the discipline. A carnivore food doesn't make you want to go off the rails, and it doesn't trigger that out of control. Sometimes over fasting can trigger sweet craving. It can trigger binging behavior. And carnivore food is so protective about that because it's full nutrition. We tend to not have that. I was even thinking, Raymond, about maybe sharing the protocol that we had visited with Michael about earlier about coming off of this one. I don't think Lindy and Todd have heard.
No,
what
we
No, I
did
didn't
not.
talk to them
No,
yet.
I'd
No.
love to.
Right,
Yeah.
That might be kind of interesting. Mhm.
Well, let's talk about how to come off of it. So I was thinking more for Michael, doing a 3 days. So what you do is you're going to come off of it small amounts. So you could have either eggs, broth, so small amount for like a 5-hour window, or kind of all day long, right? And the next day you kind of do the same thing. And by the third day, you should actually feel pretty whole. Once you feel pretty whole, then on the fourth, fifth, sixth, you do 5 OMADs. You do 5 days of OMADs. So that way you stabilize everything. And then you can go back into your alternate day fasting routine from there. But
Okay.
what that does is 2 things. So first of all, you're doing the portion where you're making sure you're eating enough within those 3 days, and you're going to test it with the five meals, 5 OMADs. And that's going to say, if you can't do these OMADs, then you're just not ready to go any more forward, right? It's just like, oh, wait, then you did not recover enough. So we have a test bed and we have a good recovery period.
That makes
But-
good sense.
And I prefer smaller meals. Here's why, especially for recovery. And there's nothing wrong. You want to eat extra and you can't stop yourself, but that says that maybe you're not ready for that fast. So you know how it is, like you start putting stuff in your mouth and then you just can't stop. You're like, oh my God, I want some more. I want some more. So if you are not able to pace yourself properly, it just means that you probably weren't very nourished at the time before you went into the fast. You should feel like I can eat a piece of eggs and just mind my own business, go do something else, and eat again 30 minutes. And it can be a small meal, and then you do it 30 minutes again, or you could do it until full, and you could do it again until full, because you notice that your digestion is going to happen a lot faster too. So it's going to start picking up and digesting quicker. So then you can eat a little bit more later. And I encourage that the whole time for the whole 3 days.
Great approach. And thinking about is that I love that you guys are supporting each other so much and for this fasting period, and like let's kind of keep that momentum going, for at least that 5 days after, where you're doing some check-in and some accountability. I think that how you break the fast and what you do on your up days or your eating days are probably more significant than what actually what gets accomplished during the fast. So I love that you're talking about that part.
Yeah. And I want to find out, you guys going to get maybe diarrhea, how bad is going to be the effect after the fast? Are you going to feel, bloated, most of the time? What our achievement, if we're very self-aware, these are the feelings that we don't want to come. What I've always said is, whenever we're in a fast, or whenever we're even getting out of a fast, our effects should be very minimal from what you can tell. In other words, you shouldn't feel awful. If you feel awful, something went wrong, right? So if you feel great still, because you're going to feel great through the fast, just like what you're feeling right now, Lindy, right? And Todd, you guys are feeling on top of the world right now, right?
Yeah.
I'm not quite there yet. I'm only 55 hours in, so I know that feeling on the 65th hour or so. But what I'm saying is that you want to feel as top of the world even coming off of it. So if you do it right, you still feel pretty doggone good and not like crashing, right? So we want to land the plane very smoothly. We don't want to just go wham, bam, crash and burn, right? And eat everything in the house. Not a good idea.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't eat 3 ribeyes when I get out of here.
I mean, and that's the
We're
thing
not
we need to realize.
responsible for what happens if you do that.
We're okay with whatever you do, because I want to hear it. But I'm just letting you know from my
Crash
experience,
away.
it's like, crash away. That's one
Right.
great way to learn. You gotta learn it, but be cognizant about it. See, I've done it so many times that I've crashed that I realized, is there a way to do it without crashing? Right.
Right.
And there is. And that's what I'm telling you how to do.
I'm listening to Raymond.
Yeah, me too.
And I could be wrong. I could miss the whole thing, but that's
Oh.
what we're going to find out.
No, I did that. I was trying to do a 40-day fast one, but I only made it to 21 days and I got sick. But when I came off of that one, I crashed. I ate too much too fast and it didn't work out. Too much meat too fast for sure.
Yeah. And it really feels like a crash.
Yep.
I
For
love that
sure.
fasting can come back as like a therapeutic tool when we've got our diet under control, our appetite under control, our relationship with food is so much better. Then our relationship with fasting can be so much better as well and not
Mhm.
be used as like a restriction and punishment. It's just really beautiful.
I think it's going to work out really good with the lion diet because I was very worried with if the lion diet was just with no salt was going to be I was going to have meat fatigue because I already get that,
Mm.
even without that. But I think because I'm planning on doing alternate day fasting, and I think that's might be a perfect balance for me because it should make you hungry it should keep you from having fatigue.
That's it. And it's kind of nice because a lot of carnivores that do it, they don't do fasting. They actually don't realize that they're not really looking forward to the food as much. It tastes good, but they're doing it more like a chore. They're eating daily. And what I'm saying is like, hey, why not hold that back off just a little bit, right? And then just go for the whole 36 hours. So alternate day fast is beautiful. Of course, we're doing these 5-day fasts as a kind of I do a 5-day yearly reset. So this is going to count on my 5-day for this year. Emily, you like to do it seasonal. So, but my favorite is the alternate day fast. And then I'll be going right into that shortly after I recover from the 5-day fast.
There's a comment in the feed on here that says that Dante does ends his fast with bone broth and carnivore crisp, and I actually experimented with that with the carnivore crisp. I'd kind of forgotten about it. So, there's this big question out there: do you break with fat? Do you break with lean? I like to break with lean, and those
Right.
carnivore crisps are lean. In fact, that's an issue I had when I was first using them as a snack is like, where's the fat? I had to come up with all kinds of fatty dips just to eat them, And then I
Mhm.
kind of realized, hey, when I'm getting to the end of a fast and I'm choosing to break lean, that's a good way to go. Or I don't know if you guys have started to, make your homemade carnivore crisp, the things like that. But
Yeah.
that can be a nice way to go for that, for breaking it.
I agree
guess
with
that-
you. Going lean. Go ahead.
Yeah. That was my question because I don't have a gallbladder. I don't want to be having too much fat to start because I don't want to be on the toilet. So I should be having lean things as well when I break
I
my
would
fast.
recommend that.
I
Stay away
would.
from the
And
fats.
remember, bone broth are actually pretty fatty and
It
also
is.
rendered fatty. So there's sometimes a cup is okay, sometimes it's too much. So depending on
Careful with the bone
I would
broth.
be
I
careful
know.
with the bone broth.
I'd rather go with
So
something solid and lean.
yes, that's what I would rather.
So just like
Solid and lean.
just like
Sashimi,
eggs. Oh,
eggs.
sushi. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
If you like some wings are a little tough because wings can be too delicious and you might overdo it.
Eat too much, yeah.
Right. And you can, you know what I mean? Right. Yeah. So, so there, you got to be tricky, right? If it's too palatable, you might just be tempted not to stop after that first few bites
Mhm.
and then eat too much too quick.
Right. Okay. Cool.
It's little strategies, like I said, the best way to learn is to go through it yourself, but we get to
For
learn
sure.
from each other.
Yeah, I got to figure that one out because I didn't really think about it till now, but all that I have is ribeyes.
Ribeyes.
Because I just stocked up for a lion and I was like, I'm not going to eat anything else but ribeyes because what's the point?
Don't eat
So,
that glob of fat, maybe. Set that to the side.
Right. Eat the actual meats. And again, it's quantity, right? A
Yeah.
little too much, that's what'll get you, but you'll feel it. So it's that feeling when you eat and then you just feel like, oh, I'm good for now. That feeling.
Right.
That's what you're looking for. But that
Right.
feeling is very slight because you can override it very easily too.
Right.
So that's what we need to be careful. Don't take that extra bite because once you do, you overrid it. And then all of a sudden you're like, man, I want some more.
I gotcha.
Right. So it's careful attention to details on that one. By the way, Todd, you probably don't want to call this the lion diet. So it is the ribeye only diet, pretty much, that you're kind of doing like Joe Anderson.
It's a
and,
version
the
of
Andersons.
lion.
But Andersons have coined that one before, they just never named it, and it's no salt. So that's why I'm saying, and I did that one for 8 months, the ribeye only,
Okay.
with no salt. So, but I've never done it with alternate day fasting. So you're gonna go, yeah, way out.
Dude, you might shred. I did it with ADF for a couple of months when I first met Bella and Raymond, and I'd primed. I was a good girl. I was really feasting. I had done that, and that was
Ribeye only?
amazing. It was just
Really?
beef. Yeah.
Oh,
I
beef
don't
only.
think I did.
Okay, yeah,
I
beef
don't think
only.
I did other cuts, but I did it with the alternate day, and
Yeah.
man, I got a nice shred on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
Mhm.
ribeye only really helped me. If I could actually just stay with ribeye only, it's not really feasible. Well, I mean it is, but it's hard to go out to eat or anything like that with it. So
It's hard to eat your strip loins, your tenderloins when you're on ribeye only.
yeah,
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, and get a little bit more fat, but well, that makes sense. I don't know. I guess I was thinking, I was not going to restrict, like, I shouldn't be doing like OMADs or 2MADs, just like you said, up and down days, like however many ribeyes I want on the days off. That's fine. You think?
Wait, what do you mean?
For an alternate day fast coach, he's
alternate day?
asking,
Mhm.
should he restrict on his up day on ADF?
You're talking about how many meals. So I would go by appetite on that one, but no, I wouldn't restrict my up days, period. So
Yep.
because your objective should be strictly like I'm eating one day, I'm not eating one day.
Yeah.
So if there's that day that you're just like, because okay, what I noticed on ribeye only that I did is I started eating much less.
Mm.
And that got a little bit dangerous. That's why I always thought, man, I can't fast with this thing because I may get myself to undereat. So there'll be sometimes you want a recovery period. A recovery period can be just looking at it as 3 meals in one day, 4 meals in one day, 5 meals in one day, just enough to get you to keep skipping. So the objective is just to keep that ADF roll going.
Right. So basically, if keep doing that until, if a skip day becomes white knuckling, then I need to kind of do a real small
Exactly.
thing.
Exactly. If you start observing like, something's going wrong, but the white knuckling is a little different on this. It's not because of hunger. It's more because of you're just feeling this little buzz, this little stress buzz. You feel just a little bit drained. Like
I know what you meant. I
energy.
felt that yesterday on this one.
Right.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
a little bit like a wired tired, right?
Yeah, it
Mhm.
is. Well, like you're tired, but you're tense at the same time.
There, that's it.
Mhm.
That's exactly it.
Which is good in small amounts. It's okay in
Right.
small amounts. Mhm.
Right. But that's just a good indicator to say, hey, you know what? Maybe I should take it seriously the next morning. And you wire your brain at that point. When you feel these things, you're like, okay, I need to have breakfast. Why do I say breakfast? Breakfast is probably the most important part, because if you start off with breakfast, then you can actually eat enough throughout the day. But if you started off like at 3 o'clock, which you're going to be tempted to do because you're not hungry that morning, right? Well, you don't have that much time to really catch up and digest.
Right. Yeah, totally get that. That's what I did the other day. I ended up fasting early because of that. Let's see. I had a question here.
Mhm.
So us
So
not
that's not
fasting is
fasting.
probably why we get meat resistance.
Yeah, so meat aversion happens usually because it's usually the fats. So the fats accumulate over time in our bodies, and everybody's a little bit different. And it'll accumulate to the point where you're just like, a ribeye doesn't sound as good anymore, even though if you're hungry. But you're like, and this is where fasting would come in a little bit handier, because if you're backed up on the fats and your body's like, I don't really want any more fats, well, that's a good chance that it's ready to start using that fat. It's like, hey, you fast, and it's like, hey, well, I got the fats, perfect. Let me drain it a little bit, get it down, and then I'm going to want more later on. So yes, our meats taste wonderful after a fast.
it can be one reason we get meat aversions.
Right.
So I don't think it's the only reason that we get meat aversions. Some of us just really like variety. We just enjoy our life so much better as carnivore if we have little taste of some other things in there, and it makes us feel like we love our days and we look forward to our meals. So variety can be really important if you're having meat aversion. But fasting is wonderful. And what do you always say, Coach? That hunger is the best sauce, right?
Hunger is the best sauce. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
So nothing wrong with that.
Got another one. Question: what is the reason for Todd doing no salt? So several reasons. I just noticed that when I first started carnivore, I needed electrolytes, and I was listening to people say, "Oh, you shouldn't need electrolytes when you're on carnivore," but they made a big difference for me. And then they were right. After about 8 months, I didn't need electrolytes anymore. It's like I feel like I kind of filled this deficit, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm feeling the same way about the salt. I needed salt for a long time. I wanted salt on everything, and just naturally, I haven't wanted it lately. Last 2 months probably. And right about then, because I was like, why all of a sudden the same amount of salt that I'm putting on here, all of a sudden now it's tasting, it doesn't taste right. It doesn't, I don't crave it anymore.
It's too salty sometimes
Yeah,
too.
too salty. Yeah. And that happened out of nowhere. And then I was like, I just started realizing, I think that I had a deficit before, and now I don't. I think I must have got my sodium up there.
Yes.
And that's, I have a little bit of fluid retention in my legs, and that's something I'm still dealing with. And so it gets worse when I have too much salt. And I've noticed that lately. And then I heard Bella didn't have salt, and she said she felt a lot more energy. And then I heard Chafee say that he wasn't eating salt, so I was like, well, let's just give that a try. It just seems, what I've noticed lately, this is 1 year now that I've been doing this. What I've noticed in the last few months is that, just like quitting tobacco, I don't know why, but my body just decided that's what we were doing. Like, it was like, we're quitting. I'm like, all right. And just like on the electrolytes, I just was time. I didn't need them anymore. Just like when it's time to fast, you just know it, it feels right. And so I don't know. It's just kind of a cue I'm picking up on. So I want to try it,
I love that. It's an intuitiveness. I think that eating what we're supposed to eat lets us be intuitive in lots of different things in our life. So I think about Lindy with that too, that she's just now learning to love fasting. And she was 2 years that wasn't really a huge part other than intermittent fasting. And I just think that's remarkable how we keep on growing. Like carnivore seems so simple, but like every year that we're into it, we grow more and we learn more. And there's like different kinds of choices that sort of call to us. They call us out. We don't, navigate it so much and force this thing to go. Like it calls us to whatever that next step is.
Yeah. And I want to say, I love Harry's comment there. So, I've always said there's several, by the way, Harry, thank you for being here. I always like to say that there's several levels of fasting, where the different levels of being able to use your fats. And just like he said, you can get water from your fat cells, but that also works the same with the salt also. So it's eventually you don't need either of those. And your fat cells provides you everything that you need. The reason that Lindy can fast now is because her body's finally ready to that point. And yes, we can say that it's because we're doing it in a group. She's been doing it long enough. It could be multi-factored, but I want to say that she just decided, I'm doing it. And the thing is doing it. So technically you should have been really struggling by now if you couldn't, and you're doing it very easily. So that's one thing that we noticed. And with Todd, he stopped the salt, and he's doing that easily, enjoying the meat even more because he's not doing salt on there.
Yeah,
and I've been down that road. Right. It's just more palatable. I still enjoy my meat without salt, but I will have salty cheese on the side. But that, to me, that's just that's a little different. The queso morphine, and I have quit it for 8 months before. That's just a little pleasure thing for me. So,
I love how you just come right out and say, "I'm just doing it for the queso morphine hit."
well, I am. I mean, really and honestly, it's like there's so little hits that you get on carnivore, or anything like that. So
For
yeah.
sure.
I've got my guilty pleasure.
Well,
Right,
that's
Emily?
Listen,
wrong with that.
I want to do a shout out to Harry Soprano. I don't know if you guys know him, Todd, Lenny, Michael.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Of course you do. So, and
Oh, yeah,
who
yeah.
all that are listening, give him a follow. He just is just such a wonderful brainiac in this space. And I love how he's explained this. Well, obviously, it's the upregulation of your antidiuretic hormones. Well, yeah, that's what we were trying to say. We knew that.
not in a scientific way, but in an experimental way. This is why we like people who are real brainiacs about these kind of things. Harry is one of them. Him along with Bart, they can explain things in a more scientific way. I'm not interested in that part, but I am interested in how I feel and how I experience it.
That's awesome. What can Perry? Can you put your?
I'll post it.
Okay,
His
I
channel.
got you. Perfect. Coming up in 49 hours. Wow! Congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
Yay.
Starting to feel like I could slip very easily. Yeah, there is that. It's good to notice it. First of all, you're at that 49-hour mark, and you're like, "Why am I doing this? Is there a strong enough why to keep me from slipping off?" Because, gosh, a nice meal would be nice. Just to chill with a nice meal. And that's where you kind of have that self-talk and have that why. It's like, for my why, it's like, well, I don't want to disappoint anybody here. I said I was going to do it. It's like, so am I going to let this little bit of want going to impact me? Of course not. So, and I know it's going to go away. So once you know that feeling is going to go away, although it feels so strong that it feels like it's going to be there forever, but it's not. It just goes away. Actually, Michael, you said you went through that on the first day, right? Where it's like you almost like were wondering. Tell us your experience, how that feels.
I was just got really hungry, and I really wasn't paying attention to what you were asking me because I was posting link into all the channels. But if you ask me again, I can answer.
Yeah, I was just wondering, on that first day, like the really hunger, did you notice it start going away mainly after a certain amount of time?
No, I went to bed at a certain point, and when I woke up in the morning, it was gone. I just a little bit, but it was weird though. I haven't felt these hunger pains this whole time I've been on carnivore. I've been on carnivore now for 5.5 months to have it this strong as much as I did. I wish I would have had that when I was priming, because then I could eat anything I wanted, and now I'm stuck. I can't eat.
It's a nice feeling though. To me, this is a romantic feeling almost. It's like, oh my God, this is great. I can imagine how the meat tastes, how nice it would be to have a perfect ribeye, just with that juiciness inside. I shouldn't be talking about it, but you fantasize about that. It's nice to fantasize about that.
Yeah, it is fun.
So I'm looking forward to being able to eat again on Friday. It'd be nice.
Oh yeah, that's what I keep thinking right now.
For sure. No, and what's funny was I did 9 months of OMAD before I primed, and I don't know, everything about my metabolism or something was just slowed down because it wasn't hard, right? But also I didn't have any energy and I didn't feel good,
Right.
It was just a zombie kind of, not at first, but at month 7, from month 7 through month 9, I was just drained, like everything just kind of hit a wall. And but after I did the priming, fasting was easier and harder, and at the same time, it's kind of hard to explain. It was easier because I was feeling good. I felt a lot better doing the fasting primed, but it was harder because I craved more food because I was just eating so much that I was used to eating so much, 3 times a day, that it was actually kind of hard at first to get back. But now that I've been doing, I did the OMADs, and then I did the rolling, 36 hour, alternate day fasting. Now this one's actually pretty easy. So.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Todd, because, that's why I like kind of climbing the ladder towards the fast and not just go straight from priming, eating 3 meals, and all of a sudden going none. This is a handy type strategy if you're doing it, for example, a small micro prime, like a 3 days, and then going to a 72 hours. That's different because that's a short amount of time. But if you're eating like a week long and then expect that to stop and then go into a fast, it's going to be a little bit hard at first.
For sure. But
That's
it's
a great adjustment,
it's hard in a good way though, like you said, because you enjoy you come out of a prime going, I don't want to eat another
wanna eat-
dang
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And then you go into that, and 12 hours later, you're like, I'm about to eat my boot. What's going on?
Right. Right.
I was sick of food before I started. Yeah.
Right.
Here we got a question. This is kind of interesting.
Let's see. Are we talking about amino acid experiments now? What do you think about the FDA banning BCP 157 as discussed on Joe Rogan, Brigham Bueller? When did they ban BCP?
I haven't
that's
heard it yet.
yeah, I haven't heard that they banned. But by the way, what you're talking about with the amino acids, specifically BCP, is really a peptide. So it is amino acid chains. We are not talking about amino acids right now. We're just talking about fasting and a little bit of priming and how to get into that. But that's interesting. I'll have to look at the ban. I wonder if that happened recently.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and for people who are interested on BCP, that one's very interesting. The BCP 157, it's great for joints recovery and aches and pain. A lot of bodybuilders, well, that I know, that I've heard about, uses that.
Yeah.
We've got Keith in the house.
So how many days are you at now?
That's a good question. How many days are we at?
I am at
50
55 hours. That's what I'm going by. I'm not going by days, just going by hours.
Yep, same here.
69
53
hours,
69.
11 minutes.
Gosh. By the way, the reason we're so different is because Todd and Lindy wanted to go way ahead of us for some reason.
Yeah.
So me and Michael
That's
are
cheated.
hitting the back.
They're showing off.
I know they're
We
showing
screwed
off.
up.
No, it's I got the time zones wrong in my head and I didn't want to fall behind
right.
everyone else. So I'm like, I'm starting now so I'm not last. And then Todd joined me and then poor Michael was like, I haven't eaten yet. Oh yeah. So I'm
I
sorry,
had to eat that
Michael.
lamb roast that I had. I wanted to eat that first. So I ate that Sunday morning, and
Yeah, so it's my
Priorities.
fault. Sorry,
Yeah.
Michael.
I'll
We
catch up
messed
to you
up.
guys.
I'm at 69 hours, 42 minutes. So
Oh wow, Todd and Lindy
Yeah.
are right at it.
You're about to get to the pretty much no hunger zone. This is the stage where the feeling of weakness, where you don't want to do any workout, is going to be happening around that time. And you're just going to feel kind of in a, not bad, but not great either. Not high energy, not low energy, but just flatline. But you don't want to work out. You don't want to really go.
today my my legs felt jello-y, and I'm
Jello-y,
getting kind of
that's
hoarse for
example.
some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, not to get woo-woo on y'all, but I love that point. That 3-day point is,
It
you
is
know, to
nice.
me, there's just a lot of clarity. You know, if there's something that I'm
Clarity.
unsure about in life, sometimes that can be a time that I can think very clearly about things.
I love that, Emily. Yes, that's why I like to add in a 72 in the calendar too, so people can feel that. And yeah, I like that clarity.
Feels good, and it reminds me of when I was young and we're going to work, and my dad, I was working in the field with my dad, and he goes, it's first time I was 13, first time going to work with him. We were working 40 hours a week, and it was tough, And he said, it'll make that 40 hours a week a lot easier. And I'm like, what? He's like, we're going to work 60s all
60,
month.
yeah, there you go. Right, right,
Make the
right.
40s. Well,
There you
very
go.
true,
Yeah,
because we ended up doing that a lot when I was young. And, after working a bunch of 60 and 70 hour weeks, 40 hours a week was easy. And that's how I feel about this 5-day fast. It makes all the other things seem small,
Yeah. Once people experience a 72 on the calendar, they think the alternate day fast is pretty easy at that point, and that's where rolling 48 starts coming into play too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this might have been accidentally a beautiful start to 3 months of alternate day fasting.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a
With a
perfect
ribeye
reset.
only. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a meat aversion before coming into this, so now I'm actually looking forward to having a steak when I come off.
No more meat
So,
aversion from here, huh?
no,
Yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to it. So it's
Yeah.
been,
Awesome.
it's been good.
Yeah, it's gonna help you, I think.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too. Now, there is some disappointing point depending on what time you actually break the fast. And I usually like to break the fast when I'm not hungry. Why? Because it prevents me from being able to stop myself from eating too much. See,
Right.
Mhm.
but because you can really work yourself up. It's interesting. So if you watch the clock, you can literally see, oh, I've got 2 hours left, and then you start getting the digestive processes working, right? And then that's kind of a mistake, because when you get to that 2 hours, you're actually making your brain think it's hungrier than it really is. And there's no need to do that. So that's why I don't like watching the clock too well. That's why we're doing a 5-day fast. I don't care if you hit 120 hours. If you go over or under, just think 5 days. On that fifth day, it's like, oh, okay, good. I'm going to break my fast anytime now. And that's the way
Right.
we want to think about it.
Right.
And we're going to strategize about how we break it. And when we break it, we'll break it slowly enough that way.
Right. Let's see. Harry had a good helpful tip. He said, I find for myself, I cut protein to 1 gram per kilogram and up my fat as I go into a fast. And then and the high ketones allow a smooth transition into fasting for me. I've never
I
tried
agree.
that.
No, I agree. So I like to eat fatty ribeyes before going into fast. That's just kind of my thing. This last one, but I've been priming for so long, so it's not a big deal. So this last one, I actually went into this fast with salmon, which is very unusual.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah.
That's like the worst from carnivore
Right?
perspective.
I know. But the day before, of course, I had like loads of meat. So we went out to where did we go? A Fogo, and I
Oh,
had loads of that.
nice.
So that kind of make up for it.
Little mini prime during the day. I do that too. I kind of butter load. And so I kind of sandwich my, have butter before and have butter after. And that's doing a very similar thing. I'm not going to be as hungry for the meat if I'm having more butter. And so that I just transition into a fast in that way. It's nice.
Yeah, I like
Ah.
this. He said if that doesn't work, you're either not well fat adapted or have some sort of mitochondrial issue. Severe drop in energy going low carb is a giveaway for mitochondrial dysfunction. That makes sense.
I love it. And it's a giveaway for fat adaptation, what we're saying too. It's a giveaway how on a carnivore diet, when things are going well and things are adapting, a lot of times you will fast accidental. And so this is a classic, things are really shifting well, where sometimes people will have an accidental skip day, an entire day where they won't even pay attention.
Right.
They'll just get busy. And it's a huge benefit.
Right. Let's see. Bypass. What is the reason not to work out? I joined this challenge and another one. The other is 200 push-ups a day for this month.
Well, no, this is just during the priming phase. We don't really recommend the workout. And if you do like 70% max, the reason being on that is just that takes a lot of your energy out. Now, during fasting, that's not a problem. Now, if you're doing a 5-day fast, again, you start feeling that weakness right about the 65th hour or so. But you'll have enough strength to actually do pretty decent workouts. And I still do throughout the 5-day fast.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I've had some of my best. I'm not a very athletic person, but when I'm dabbling in that, I have some of my best zones, my best jogs where I can go for long periods of times in a longer fast for sure.
In refeeding, I always hear some variant on a broth plus vegetables. I assume the threat is insulin response after a long fast from carbs. So high protein ratio. I mean, just like Emily said, it's better just to go into mostly protein. But for me, it's not really about what you're eating necessarily as the amount you're eating that can catapult you over. So high protein ratio means a little bit lower fat, so you'll be able to actually handle. You won't be running to the bathroom really quickly, more than likely.
Oops.
Oh,
Are y'all just drinking water, or are you drinking other non-calorie drinks when I've done longer fasts? Before, sparkling water helped me at first, and with any hunger moments. Yeah, I've got a camera in front of my screen, and so I can't see the bottom of it. I'm so encouraged by y'all. Thanks, Clay. Yeah, shout out to Clay too. He's I think he's five days carnivore now.
Oh, right
Yeah,
on.
Clay.
You were telling us
Good
about him
job.
earlier, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Clay's doing good. Yeah, I'm just drinking sparkling water. In fact, my thirst has gone down so much. It's kind of crazy. I think that's why I'm hoarse, because I'm not drinking anything today. But yeah, that's all I'm drinking.
Well,
I've got
sparkling.
my
Oh yeah.
Soda Stream.
So true.
Soda Stream, yeah.
I
I'm
haven't
just drinking
gotten
water.
into it yet. Yeah, I need to get into the sparkling water a little bit for like a little treat. So, but I haven't wanted it yet. So,
There's Keith. Keith says, what do y'all think about fasting as a group?
fasting,
Love it.
fasting as a group is wonderful because you get the uh not just the encouragement. It's like you feel like you're part of a group, and it allows you to have a stronger why. I'm doing it because hey, these other people are, if you want to call it, suffering together. That we're in it together doing it. So it's a nice little thing to do. This is why on the SBG, when we do the calendars, we like it when people follow each other on the calendars, because then you can encourage each other. You can hear others experiencing the same thing that you are, or maybe some people a little bit different than others, but then you get curious, and you get curious about the next day and that next day. I don't know. There's so many advantages of doing it together. Also, I don't know if anybody notices this, but at the beginning of the year, it's very easy for a lot of us to just start working out, to start doing crazy things, crazy diets during that time, right? And the reason being is because as a communal group in the beginning of the year usually signifies that all of us do something pretty hard, and we're taking all of that energy and mass from each other, and it makes things easier for us in the long run. So take advantage of that is what I'm saying.
It was a
For sure.
cornerstone of my success, was doing fast with other people. This was before carnivore too. And so we would, I'd find these groups on Facebook or whatever. And, now even better that I know how to fast more efficiently and how to fast in a healthier way. But I loved tying into community for that challenge. So yeah, I think it's a great thing to do.
I
just
tend to
wanna-
self-sabotage as well. I get in my head and just my game plays heads with me. So when I'm fasting with a group, it does keep me accountable for everyone else. I don't want to let the team down, but then I'm
Right.
proud of myself for getting through it, because I don't think I could get through it without you guys on board. So
Yep.
sorry, Michael.
No, I just want to bring this question up that we wanted to take a look at.
I have done a 7-day water fast in the past, loved it. Shortly afterwards, I had blood tests showing underactive thyroid. Never before had an issue. It took 6 months eating high-fat carnivore to correct the problem. I fast maximum of 18, 20 hours now.
Yeah, so really underactive thyroid is definitely so if we are not properly nourished and we're going into a fast, we're going to get little issues. Yes, even if you were carnivore for a while, it doesn't mean that you're actually eating properly. So this is why we like to prime first and then slowly build our way to actually the fast that we want, whether it's a 7-day, 14 days, 10 days, 5 days, doesn't matter. Any long extended fasting, we need to make sure that the first thing that we are is properly nourished. So the signs of that is not just thyroid. It can go into getting your hair loss. So that's another one to look for. Very low energy, core cold, right? So these are important things to take a look at. Just don't go into it malnourished.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree completely. Priming is so important. Over fasting is a thing. Under eating is a thing. Having good refeeds in between your fast. The feasting is just as important as the fasting, and we don't want to get into trouble with slowdown, with the metabolic slowdown. I want to say hi to my friend IQ. Hi, IQ.
Hey.
I got to, let's see, we got a couple.
Check the stars. There's a bunch of questions in the
Yeah.
star tab. Okay.
I got you.
General.
I lost all mine when I lost the stream.
Oh, no worries. I have not tracked my blood sugar. Have you guys?
That's what you're here
No.
for, Daryl. Come on.
Yeah, I haven't
Used
tracked
to.
my blood sugar in a long time since I got out of the diabetic zone. Now I don't care, but
We have talked about tracking ketones, and I don't track them because I could never get a good number. Like everyone else is getting high numbers, and I have never been able to get a high number, so it discourages me. So I don't bother tracking anymore.
I agree.
But yeah.
People talk about the scale being, like a pain in the butt to look at. But the ketone meter is the only thing to me that's worse than the scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I might test after the fast to see how I go. Maybe I'll get a high reading, but it'll probably upset me if I don't.
Yeah,
I know,
right.
and it's not necessary. It's not like you're not getting the
Yeah.
benefits of the fast if you don't post this or that. Or I love that carnivore in general can be just much more intuitive. I did like it when I was doing my fast, back when I was losing my weight in 2017, in those 4 years. I did. It was fun to see as a metric, but I did run into that sometimes, Lindy, where it would actually discourage me. It's like, we're not little
Yeah.
robots with funny little numbers all over us, and we're wanting to fast in a way that we feel amazing and thrive. And sometimes that other feedback can make us feel like somehow a failure because our body didn't produce enough ketones. Like, oh, come on.
Yeah. Well, I'm obviously losing weight. I'm feeling fantastic, and I don't want the numbers to let me down and throw me off track. So I'd rather not know. Just trust my body and what it's doing. The results I could see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's see, Todd, I have edema. My leg is swollen and won't seem to go down.
Oh.
Should I try to dry fast?
Well, that one's interesting. So if you're a pro faster, then you'll notice that the dry fasting kind of is akin to water fasting. You'll notice you'll do dry fasting. Dry fasting should not be tried for beginner fasters, is what I'm saying. What I would actually consider is priming and eating a lot of meat first. Try that.
Yeah.
So some people probably wonder, why would meat help, especially with edema? So there's certain amino acids that meat will get you, and one of them is citrulline. That's one that's created by us, but we have to have our essential amino acids before it's made. So it says right here, citrulline has been mentioned as a substance that relaxes blood vessels, decreasing pressure against the walls and preventing water from causing edema or swelling. So, and there's actually a study on this about that. So if you guys are curious, you can take a look at that. So what I'm saying is eat meat first. Fasting will be complementary afterwards.
Yeah, I feel like, I can only go from my own experience and what I think got the most fluid off me. And the first thing that got the most fluid off me was just getting rid of the inflammation by going carnivore and going serious carnivore, like not taking for granted the things that might be causing the inflammation, like something as stupid as black pepper or, some silly things, spices, or not paying attention to what's, in the chili powder, right? Or something that's hiding in the chili powder, that was the stuff that I was making a mistake on. And when I went real strict and went BBB and E fluid started coming off. But then when I really started working away at it, it didn't come off until I primed, and then priming
Yes.
made it to where I could where I was just hearing signals from my body better, and I started listening to them, and more fluid was coming off. So I think it was more healing than any one particular thing. And I think when
Mhm.
you're healed up, I think your body will tell you which direction to go in. I know that sounds foo-foo or whatever, but it's real.
It's what
Like when you-
happened.
Mm.
I'm not
Oh.
dry fasting. I'm losing a lot of fluid right now, which is really
Right.
good. My legs have gone right down, and I had a lot of inflammation from over Christmas. This fasting has helped me. Just
Did you
with my
say you are
soda.
dry fasting or not?
Not
Not
dry
dry fasting or
fasting.
dry
Water. Yep.
I wouldn't dry fast without a coach, to be honest. It's frightening.
I agree. I agree.
And I've heard a lot of horror stories. So yeah, I'm happy just the water fasting for me.
Mm.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest with you, this isn't a paid advertisement or something, but you know, if it was me, I would join Steak and Butter Gang and learn how to fast or prime and fast, and that would do the most for your legs. I truly believe that.
And we do have a beginner's dry fasting schedule, also level 5, if anybody's interested in going that route too in the Chisel program.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
again, we're not trying to advertise, but if you want to learn how to do it, this is the way.
Yeah, because it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, I've been there 3.5, 4 months, and I still need the meetings and the calendars to remember the program. So it's just way handier. And I just, you know, the NSVs keep you so focused. It's crazy. So
Yeah, I love
it's,
the community. Yeah.
yeah.
Does one need to fast when they're healthy and not overweight? I only do a water fast when I feel sick, which hardly ever happens on carnivore. Your thoughts about that?
Oh, that's really good. So I believe that, well, see, that's a question about fasting, right? Are we talking about intermittent fasting where you're doing, 18s, 16s? We will all tend to get into a certain length fast. The question is how long, and does it have to do with being overweight and healthy? I just think it's beneficial all around, just to give your stomach a break, your cells a break. You just feel so much better. So it's even if you're fully nourished, there's no reason why you shouldn't fast.
I love I mean, we're still always having cellular waste and debris. And so a
Exactly.
fast is like taking the trash out. And so, or doing a deep clean on the garage so I do think that it's something that's really healthy to incorporate. We could almost say, but to me, maybe once a week or something like that.
Right.
I know most people look at it as a modality to lean out or something like that. But I think for just disease prevention and for overall health, I absolutely would recommend doing some fasting.
I totally agree. So it's very hard to go on just a weight of the body to decide whether fasting is good or not. So we automatically think fasting as loss of weight, and that's really not what it's there for. It's to increase your health span.
Mhm.
Mm.
Absolutely.
I love
Yeah,
this.
talk about longevity. Mhm.
I love this app that we've got. I think Michael
Yeah.
put a link in there before,
do.
and it's actually got little badges on there.
I
So
love
it
those
tells
badges.
you, if you click on the first one, it tells me I'm in ketosis.
Yeah.
And the next badge I've got tells me immune regeneration, and it just gives you a
Yes.
little. And so I'm just excited to see what other badges I'm going to come across as I get to the 5-day mark. Because like we're always like, oh, we've got the next badge, and we're really excited by it. So
Nice.
just the little app keeps us accountable as well. I love seeing
It's
the
true.
new badges.
Absolutely. What makes dry fasting supposedly superior to water fasting?
So according to the theory, the Phoenix Protocol, the dry fasting is superior because it literally takes out the water from the fat cells and supposedly eliminates it. But really, in practice, I've not noticed that.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a go slow. It's if you're going to include that, just little bits at a time and build that that specific skill slowly as well. Don't dive into big long dry fasts.
he was following up. He said, Daryl said, I found on a 4-day fast, don't get blood work done.
Oh,
I actually had a fasting blood sugar of 175.
Sure. Yeah, you're releasing. It's like a liver clean out. Like there's, it's releasing all these glycogens, kind of getting dumped out there, and so you're going to have some sugar disturbances. But yeah, agreed. Just basically, you want to do a 12-hour water fast is the kind of the benchmark for your bloods.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I don't like measurements because then you look at this number, you're like, oh my God, I'm doing something wrong. Let me end my fast. And I'm feeling fine, but the numbers are saying this or that.
You're getting Emily. You're getting a write-in for president too here.
Oh, thanks, IQ. Thanks for your vote.
Carnivore president.
All right, let's see here. I thought I had. Oh, there it is. There's Keith's question. I missed it. Benefits of a longer fast, or what are the benefits of a longer fast over a shorter fast? I finally started fasting again.
It's funny because people think longer fast, anything after 72 hours, right? 3 days is usually considered a longer fast. And then they have the shorter fast, which is usually like intermittent fasting. So and the alternate day fast, I guess, would be a medium type fast. So it depends on what we're looking for too. The longer fasts are very great for an emergency purpose because Dr. Fung uses it as an emergency. Like he's like, if you're just having issues with, for example, you're really up there on the diabetic, A1C of 10, he gets you on a water fast. I forgot for how long, like 7 days, just to bring that level a little down and starts trying to manage it with food from there. And I thought that was very interesting. But, those are the cases. The other case for longer fast is there was a guy I saw on the snake juice. He did a longer dry fast, a 7-day dry fast, but his foot was about to get amputated. And he told the doctor, hold up, give me 7 days.
Whoa.
And he did that.
Wow.
And it healed up to a little, just like a little wound from there. So there's
Amazing.
Wow.
there's these amazing things. Problem is, this question is recovery from there. Shorter fast, recovery are nil, right? You can do shorter fast, even those medium fast, with very little recovery, and you can keep them ongoing. So what I look at is the time amount that you get. So if you're doing like a medium fast, alternate day fast, you can do literally 15 of those in a month instead of doing a 15-day fast, which would just wipe you out for the next, 15 days or more. So there's reasons for both, but it just depends on what your why is, really.
And I think this will be our last question because I think we're at our hour, but there we go.
I'm on day 6 of priming post-COVID and finally have some energy back, taking perfect aminos as well. But taurine gave me the energy. Thanks to Raymond for the taurine tip.
Ooh,
Shelley.
that's too bad. Harry's not here right now. He would love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess
Excellent.
I guess we got one more if you want to answer that one.
I have a hard time fasting and following the schedule for steak and butter gang. I always want to eat with my family. I typically do OMAD, but I wish I had more willpower to finish up level 4.
You got to level 4? Fantastic. Well, look, level 4, there's a reason level 4, we complete all of what we learn in level 3. Level 4 is a bonus. It's not made for certain people. It's just not comfortable. So if you like level 3, stay there or make up your own levels from there. We test out the end of level 3 with a rolling 48, but that's really stretching some people out. And
it is completely optional. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And like you said, it's a bonus. And if you look at level 3, as far as eating with family time, you're going to eat with your family a lot. Level 3 has, there's a few times in there that, you'll need to plan something different during that time if you want to stick with that calendar. But you can make the window where you want it to fall. We're not really telling you exactly when, we're just telling you the patterns. And so you can, plan that pattern so that it falls right when it's time to eat with the family, for sure.
Excellent.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're at our hour.
Yep.
So
I'm gonna go to a basketball game. So
Yay.
wow.
nice.
Well,
Great.
Well, thank
I'm
you
glad
guys
we
so
did
much for coming on and talking about the fast with us. I know we had a lot of people curious about it, so it was great. Great you guys could give your professional advice
Yep.
because
Bring the
we don't
experts
know how
on.
to answer these
Tomorrow
questions.
is kickoff day, you guys.
Yeah, we'll be
So
there.
yeah,
Oh,
this
gosh.
is a steak and butter gang. We'll have meetings, we'll have fasting calls and priming calls and coaches
A
calls.
lot of
and
them tomorrow. Yep.
Yeah,
free
yeah.
meetings.
So just watch the
So-
link and sign up for that.
Sign up, and if you guys were the ones that there, we gave away 6 SBG links, so you guys should sign up and make the calls tomorrow. That'd be awesome.
Cannot
Yeah,
wait to see you
fantastic.
guys
That's
there.
great.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a great kickoff. January
Yeah.
kickoff. It's gonna be awesome.
Talking to you,
Yeah.
Adam and Clay. You two. Get in there.
Get in there.
Yes.
Be there. Yes.
Heck yeah. I appreciate this. Is a blast, and we appreciate you guys stopping by and hanging out with us, asking questions. And we will see you on what are we doing? Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sunday.
you're killing the stream. You're killing it. I can't. I'm locked up.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll
Thank
see.
you.
See y'all.
Bye everyone.
everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.